Major League Baseball is looking at coming back in July, and there are going to be a lot of rule changes and some things that really just don't make a lot of sense, and you wonder exactly how they're going to enforce all of these changes. Hey everyone, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. Reading a story here from a CBS station out of Boston on some of the new rule changes that are going into Major League Baseball into effect for the shortened 60-game season. I don't know, can you really call it a season? A 60-game sprint to the end of what may or may not look like a season? Anyway, the 2020 regular season will begin on July 23rd or July 24th with 60 games over a 66-day period. Teams will mostly play against their own division with a few interleague games against the corresponding division. Teams will play 10 games each against the other 4 teams in its division, consisting of 2 or 3 game series. The remaining 20 games on the schedule will come as interleague counterparts. So the AL West will play the NL West, if you will. The National League will now use a designated hitter, which will probably stick around from here on out. It would not surprise me if pitchers batting is officially dead in Major League Baseball. As a fan of the National League, I think this is kind of sad to see, but also the writing was on the wall for a while. The National League, they're going to have to deal with the designated hitter, and I think in some circumstances, it'll make for some better teams, but it'll be a little less intriguing as far as the type of game that is played. Now, again, some new rules here on this. The 3-batter rule for relief pitchers will remain as planned. Teams will begin extra innings with a runner on second base. This is so stupid. It makes absolutely no sense to do this whatsoever. But maybe it'll add some excitement to the game. You know, you go into the 10th inning, there's already a runner on second. There's a lot of pressure on the pitcher at that point. Okay, but I mean, come on. I guess it's a way to test it. I don't see this rule hanging around unless it does bring a lot of enthusiasm to Major League Baseball. And how are they going to do that when you still have blackout rules that apply in all markets? That's right. Even though fans, for the most part, will not be able to attend games in person due to the coronavirus pandemic, Major League Baseball is continuing to black out games in home markets. It's a stupid thing. They need to get rid of it. And if they're wondering why Major League Baseball is dying a slow death, this is just one of the reasons. The postseason format will remain the same with 3 division winners and 2 wild card teams. The roster rules. Rosters will start with 30 players for the first 2 weeks of the season, then drop down to 28 players for the next 2 weeks, then stay at 26 players the rest of the season. Instead of a 40-man roster, teams can retain 60 players overall. Those players not on the active roster will exist on a taxi squad, with 3 players from that group able to travel with the team to games. One of the other 3 players must be a catcher. The trade deadline set for August 31st, and the active roster deadline for playoff eligibility is set for September 15th. There will be a special COVID-19 injury list with no minimum or maximum length of time spent on it. List stints will remain at 10 days, while 60-game IL will be instead 45 days. Players will be paid a prorated portion of their 2020 salary based on games played, which will approximately equal about 37% of a full season. Again, it's not really a season that we're having. 37%, come on. Anyway, I guess some baseball is better than no baseball. Here's some of the new player rules on Major League Baseball going into the coronavirus season. There will be no bat boys or ball girls. No bat boys, no ball girls, no bat girls or whatever. That's not going to happen. Team staff will handle those duties. I don't know what that means, like an intern or, like the third base coach. Who's going to be, who knows who's going to be in charge. Hitters will have to bring their own equipment, pine tar rags, donuts, etc., with them to the on-deck circle. Pitchers will have to bring their own rosin bag to the mound and use their own personal baseballs during bullpen sessions. Players are also going to have to do this. You know how some pitchers will lick their fingers whenever they throw a ball? You can't lick your fingers anymore. Even though pitchers have done that forever, no more licking of the finger. Instead, I guess because the corona cannot get on it and then hit some, I don't know. But instead, you're going to have to take like your own wet rag out there and wet your fingers on the rag. I don't see how that's going to work, but okay, have fun with it and see. Hitters and runners left on base will have to get their own equipment from the dugout when the inning ends, instead of somebody bringing out the player's cap and glove and all that kind of stuff, which makes no sense. Again, these guys are going to still be around each other, but okay. Also, this is my favorite one. No more spitting. Spitting no longer allowed in Major League Baseball. Spitting is prohibited, including sunflower seeds and shells. Smokeless tobacco also prohibited. However, you can chew gum. I guarantee you players are going to sneak some tobacco into the gum. I mean, how are you going to enforce no spitting out there? I mean, are you going to be watching every single player all the time to see if they spit in the grass? I mean, come on, give me a break. You're telling me an outfielder can't spit if they need to. Why? That doesn't make any sense at all. Players licking their fingers now prohibited. We went over that. Pitchers can carry a wet rag in their pocket to moisten their fingers between pitches. Batting practice balls can only be used that day. Okay, so if you're batting practice, afterwards, the balls then have to be cleaned and sanitized and cannot be reused for 5 days. Again, why? Fighting and instigating is a big no-no and will be met with severe discipline. Players cannot make physical contact with any other player outside of making tags and other incidental contacts. So, no physical contact between players. I really do wonder, how do they expect, and I know it's not Major League Baseball's problem here, but how in the hell are we expecting football and the NBA and some of these other sports to get going when even at Major League Baseball, they're like, no contact. Don't high-five each other. Don't do anything because you can get coronavirus. That's right. High-fives, fist bumps, hugs, all prohibited. So no more celebrating, basically, coming out of Major League Baseball. I don't know how players are going to, restrain themselves from high-fiving each other. But I guess they'll have to learn that. And then showering at the ballpark is discouraged, but not prohibited, as long as you don't spit. As long as you can take a shower, that's not prohibited. But if you spit, that's going to get you in a lot of trouble. Listen, some of these rules are just a little bit silly to me, and they make everyone maybe feel better. And I think a lot of these rules are also goals instead of rules, like the no spitting and no high fives. Are you going to really suspend a player because they high-fived another player for hitting a game-winning home run? I don't see that happening. But maybe, hey, it's a good goal. It's just like you're not supposed to touch your face anymore when because of the coronavirus. And many people have learned not to touch their faces. Others still touch their faces. It happens. But, hey, listen, at least it may not look the same. It may not sound the same. But at least we are going to see Major League Baseball, at least on paper, we're going to see Major League Baseball. I still have some doubt that we're going to see a completed season with Major League Baseball, but hey, at least they're going to try and do something. Tune into the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. Have a great day.